yet, no?
I don't know. You live right
There's
down
a
the block.
sign out there, the for sale sign.
I see the sign out there, but I don't know whether it's sold or not.
No, I guess it wouldn't. I guess it ain't.
How
That's a
much
lot
is
of money. That's a lot of money for this neighborhood.
how much is it online for?
There was $6.99. I thought initially listed. I don't know if they adjusted that or not, but for this neighborhood, that seems like a lot of money because no white folks going to do that. That's going to be black people don't seem to got money, so that's going to be like a Spanish deal.
Yeah.
There's a couple, couple family members get together and buy something like that,
Yeah.
But for this neighborhood, yeah, you gotta sell it. Well, ain't no white folks coming up here. Yeah, what the hell? Where can you go? But a lot of white folks trying to hide their money in the real estate, Danny. They don't want to, with the losing the value of their currency.
Yeah.
So you buy assets. So you don't trust banks or some shit. You don't want a lot of money laying around. Somebody might buy a piece of property, but I think right now it's still a little early yet. They could just buy gold and silver and platinum and palladium and shit. I don't think they're gonna get houses just yet.
Well, I tell you one thing that made me you need to stay on the alert about that cryptocurrency and how it's going to fall and if it's going to fall.
It's going to fall one more time, they say, but they're supposed to take off later this year. But you got to buy the dip. You can put in a purchase order now at a lower amount.
Does it say why it makes this dip? Or is it forecasted?
This is something I heard a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. I do a lot of late night shit.
It sounds like people are able to manipulate it. If you can't read it like the weather and stuff like that, they can just go up or down. It sounds like it's able to be manipulated.
Well, yes, because there are certain things. This guy named Gelsner or some kind of securities commissioner, certain things he shouldn't be allowing, he turns his
It's him right here. And so here's what he did. 38-year-old Logan man, convicted of starving his 1-month-old baby to death, has been sentenced to guess how much? 1 year in jail. Zachary Michael Jorge avoided a prison sentence after a judge said the victim's death was partially due to a neglect community. A neglect community. This is what they said. So the judge didn't blame the child's starvation on the man who actually did it, but said it was the community's fault. Warhay was sentenced Monday afternoon in First District Court. He previously accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to 1 count of child abuse homicide, a second-degree felony. On December 31st of 2021, Logan City police officers were called to a hotel room. Warhay and a 34-year-old Jody Lee Anderson had been residing at the hotel for several weeks. A 46-day-old infant boy was found lying on the bed, unresponsive, not breathing, and with no heartbeat. This is all so sad. This poor child didn't have a chance in this darn world. Paramedics transported the baby to Logan Regional Hospital and later to Primary Children's Hospital. Medical staff said the boy was unhealthy, showed signs of malnourishment and neglect. He passed away 2 weeks later. Police later interviewed extended family members who expressed concerns about both Warhay and Anderson's mental capacity. They claimed the couple had been continually reminded about feeding the baby enough formula. They were on drugs. I just want y'all to pay. They were on drugs. Staying in a hotel, child's malnourished. Y'all are forgetting to feed the child. Clearly on drugs. So Warhay and Anderson were originally charged with aggravated murder, which is a capital offense. Jody was also charged with obstructing justice, a second-degree felony. But during Monday's sentencing, defense attorney Jonathan Nish said both defendants had mental health issues and didn't intentionally starve the baby. He said Warhay could carry the loss of his child for the rest of his life. Honey, they're not crazy. This is their go-to move. Let's just act like we're crazy. Let's just blame it on mental health issues whenever we do something nefarious. Pay attention. Cache County Deputy Attorney Ronnie Keller said prosecutors believe Anderson was more responsible for the death than Warhay. He said the defendant still failed to provide for the child's needs. Now I want y'all to pay attention. So both of them were in the hotel room with this child for several weeks. But one of them is more culpable than the other? Well, if that's the case, why did they think that that cop was more culpable for the death of Donde than Lakeith? But let me continue. Warhay spoke briefly, telling the court how he had asked Anderson to feed the baby before going to work. Judge Spencer Walsh said Warhay and Anderson had no business being parents, clearly, and lacked the knowledge and resources to care for the baby. Let me tell you something. They want to try to paint them as being so incompetent. Well, clearly they were incompetent, but not because of mental capacity, just because they're nefarious, okay? This man had enough sense to hold down a job. They had enough sense to hold down a job. I'm just saying, they weren't crazy. Pay attention. Not saying that crazy people don't get jobs, but what I'm saying is, if you have the presence of mind to hold down a job, you're not going to make me think that you don't have sense enough to know that you need to feed a baby. You know to feed yourself. You know to feed yourself. You don't forget to eat, do you? So if they didn't forget to eat, how did they forget to feed that child? How is the child malnourished, but they're not? Come on, people. Let's not play games. They need to sit down somewhere. And so he described the case as heartbreaking and sad, sentencing the defendant to 365 days in jail, giving credit for 249 days already served. Judge Walsh said the community needs to reflect on what happened and why no one intervened before the baby's death. Really? This is what we're doing? We're pretending that it's the community's fault, the people around them. Here's the thing. Who knew that they were doing this? Now, the family did say they had reminded them several times to feed the baby, but when the baby was found deceased, they were in a hotel room and had been there for several days. So who was really around to see what they were doing to that child or not doing? He also ordered Warhay to have no contact with minors in the future without adult supervision. Anderson remains in jail and is scheduled to appear for a status hearing April the 10th. She has yet to enter a plea to the charges. This is all such a load of BS. Just always pretend that you have mental health issues. This is all crazy. Yes, he only got 8 months for it. T of y'all, absolutely. That's what he got. And let me tell y'all something. Somebody left me a comment yesterday. Somebody left me a comment when I did that video yesterday about Audrey Hale, the shooter at Nashville. Now I'm sure that I said this is no excuse for their acts, for Audrey's actions. But I told you all the stuff that was going on at that church about the child abuse, the actual abuse to the children, and all of that, and who did it, and how it was covered up by church leaders, and all of that. And the person who was the perpetrator was still allowed to be to have people's children in his care for years before this was ever reported to the police. I told you all of that. Somebody had the nerve to come in my comment section and say, Queen, you always tell us that they use mental health as an excuse, or mental issues as an excuse, or whatever. Do you think they would have done that or felt that way if it had been a black person? Yeah, that's what they said. And they were like, they said that I was acting as Audrey's defense attorney. I want y'all to pay attention. See, this is how stupid some people are. This is how stupid some people are. You see, I wasn't defending Audrey's actions. I was merely stating the facts. Now, if the facts lead anyone to conclude that maybe Audrey actually did have mental health issues, that's not my fault. Okay, that's not my fault. First of all, Audrey knew what Audrey was doing. Okay, Audrey knew exactly what Audrey was doing. That's a fact as far as I'm concerned. I wasn't defending Audrey's actions. What I'm saying is this. There was a whole lot of BS going on in that church and school, and people were sweeping it under the rug. And there's likely a whole lot more. Audrey was likely traumatized by that if that happened to Audrey, but other children who went there as well were likely traumatized as well. They didn't go shoot up any schools. Stop messing me with it. Talk about I acted as a defense attorney. First of all, sit down somewhere. And I wouldn't be the defense attorney. I'd be the prosecution. Pay attention to how I lay out my facts. Like, people are so stupid. I simply told them, honey, if you don't like what the queen is cooking, you already know exit stage left. Exit stage left. Don't leave me comments complaining about what I said, because I said what I said. Now, if the facts as I lay them out don't appeal to you, that's not my problem. That's not my problem. Okay? Please. You see, here's the thing that always gets me. There are some people who don't like the truth. And there are some people who are slow. And they lack comprehension skills. That's not my fault. That's not... Queen, I'm ready to put you on retainer. And I don't get in trouble. Oh, thank you, beloved. Here's my thing. This is how it goes. You see, when I say certain things, some people who are slow and who lack critical thinking skills and clearly have no common sense, and they cannot fully comprehend the gist of what I'm saying, what they foolishly do is begin to paint their own narrative. Some people have selective hearing. Let me give you an example. Numerous of times when I have stated in conversations about Trump, when I have brought up things that Biden has done, and I've brought up things that the Democrats have done, and compared it to what the Republicans have done, and I say that they're one and the same, they're they're all the same bird with different feathers, the same snake with two heads. When I say that, if you have sense, you should know that what I'm saying is that both of them are devils. Both of these groups, both of these parties are one and the same. They all do the same thing. None of them do anything for us. They all continuously use a system of benign neglect. How do you get from that I support Trump? I have questions. Did I ever say that I support Trump? No. What I have said is that Biden is equally as racist as Trump, if not more so. You see, the Biden sexuals, they have selective hearing, and all they know is they don't like Trump, but they're too stupid and ignorant to realize that for the same reason you hate Trump, well, you should feel the same way about Biden, because Biden has publicly said the N-word. Biden has said we don't need another big shot jigger. We've already got a jigger mayor. Biden's the one who likened black children to roaches. Biden has said many racist things. And I'm sure Trump has too. But Trump has likely had the sense to say them behind closed doors for the most part. Now, when Trump has said racist things in public, he hadn't said them about black folk. He's basically said them about Mexicans. He's still racist. I do remember that Trump wanted the Central Park Five to go to prison. And in fact, he paid over $80,000 on advertisements campaigning for them to go to prison. And when they were exonerated, he said that he still believed they were guilty. Well, he's clearly racist. Let's not forget that in 1976, it was Trump and his father who were sued for not allowing black folk to stay in on their properties. He's clearly racist. I never said he wasn't. I'm the one that told you the information that I just repeated. How do you get from that I'm a Trump supporter? I didn't vote for Trump. Fools. That's all I'm saying. Some people are just slow, honey. I don't have time for slow people. If you're slow, please get out of my chat and don't come back. If you are slow, please exit stage left. Okay? Like, don't come on here trying to whine and complain about what I say, because at the end of the day, I said what I said. Yes, Metasimplica, selective hearing. They hear what they want. I absolutely cannot. PHP Princess said Trump's father was a member of the KKK. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? I'm sorry, say what? Honey, they need to sit down somewhere. That's all I'm saying. Okay, Hakeem said, and don't come back. Exactly. Switching Lane said they're probably a hater. You know they are. And let me tell you how you know they're a hater, beloved. Because, see, here's what I do. When people leave me little nasty comments, you know the first thing I do before I respond to them and give them the same amount of energy? I click on their profile, because then it shows me a list of other comments they've left on my channel. And if I see that every comment you left was something smart, something slick, throwing shade or whatever, I say, okay, this is somebody who just